Hello friends, my name is Xiomara Mayo Ingram and once again, welcome to Emotional Cafe. Today with the session, Personal Values. The whole month of August we're going to be talking about values, and I wanted to start from our personal perspective and what personal values really mean to us and how they can help us improve our lives. And the first thing that I want to do is to define what personal values really mean. The values are the general expressions of what's most important to us. They push us to become better every day, to do much better in life. And when we define our personal values, we pretty much define the kind of life that we want to live. Another definition is that values are a set of principles or ideals that drive and guide our behavior. It is what gives us a structure and purpose in life, and they determine what is really meaningful and important to us. In other words, it helps express who we are and what we stand for. I really think that's the best definition. What do I stand for? And when I'm talking about personal values, I want you to think about that. What is it that you stand for? What is it that you'll be able to actually stand firmly about and say, this is me, this is what I believe, this is what I want to be able to do, or this is how I want to act based on what I believe. And generally, values come from our family environment, it comes from the society, but as we grow older, we keep adding to those values that we had already grew up with. So we keep adding new ones to our whole list as we grow older. And that's the great part about values. Particularly mine, I can tell you that I have one that I don't think it's in any personal values list, but to me it's very important, and it's quality of life. To be able to have a balanced life helps me understand what's really important, helps me keep myself from being so hyper about life that it passes me by without me enjoying it. So in order to slow myself down, keeping the balance in my life helps me to remember what's really important and to have those priorities clear in my mind and live accordingly. And I think that's the great thing. And again, it's only you who can define what your personal values are, as I was telling you that I can define some of my own. Now, some important considerations in regards to personal values, I have some here for you. They're beliefs that are deeply rooted inside us, usually in our subconscious. So they're there somehow tightly integrated in our daily activities, in everything that we do, but they guide our behaviors and decisions. So pretty much everything that we do and the choices that we make, they are related to the personal values that we have. So if you didn't know that one, now you can tell why you choose certain things, why even the people we hang out with, the kind of entertainment that we enjoy, the kind of places that we go, the works that we like, all those are related to our personal values. And also, our personal values help us proceed according to what is right or wrong for us. So it's not that we act based on a reward or something that's going to happen. If we do this, we're going to be getting this in return. But rather than that, it is a way that we act that is right for us. It feels good within ourselves. And finally, the last important consideration that I wanted to share with you is the fact that our personal values help us to act appropriately in spite of our emotions or circumstances. Sometimes it might be really stressful. Sometimes it might be that we're going through an emotional situation, and yet we know what's right and we do it, or we do what we consider is best in a situation, regardless how sad or how angry or how upset we might feel about something in particular. So those are the important considerations that I have to share with you. Now, there are three universally considered primary personal values. There's, as I was saying before, there's a lot, but there are three main values that are the most commonly accepted as the most important of all. And these three are respect, honesty, and responsibility. Listen again: respect, honesty, and responsibility. Now, respect, from the perspective of accepting and understanding others without trying to change them, understanding and accepting that they have different points of view, that they might have different values, that they're different from us. So So that's the point in which we are playing respect as a personal value. Now, when it comes to honesty, it really means that we try to pursue, in everything we do, we try to pursue justice and truth. So we aligned our actions and our thoughts and our words. And finally, responsibility. It's not about being on time. It's not about turning some assignment to the teacher on time. It's not about doing a good job. It's not about taking good care of your house or your car or yourself. Responsibility, when it comes to personal values, has to do with assuming fully our consequences and the results of our choices. So by being able to assume responsibility, that's what it really means when it comes to personal value. That I don't go blaming it on others, that I don't go looking for excuses to justify the way I acted or the way I act, but simply that I assume my consequence and my results as being a conscious choice that I've made. Nowadays, I'm sorry to say this, but nowadays our values are in danger. And this crisis has to do with the fact that we start wondering and questioning if they're really important and if we really need to hold on to them and continue acting based on our values. And let me tell you why. What do you think is the most, the highest influence that right now we're getting, and where do you think it's getting it from? Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, everything, all of them, even if I don't mention it, social media, all of them, okay? Television, Hollywood, and music. Listen again, social media, television, Hollywood movies, and music. Now, you might say, but Xiomara, those things, there's nothing wrong with those things, and I agree. The problem is the way that we allow these things to affect us. It's the way that they're impacting our lives nowadays. Now, let me tell you how, and this is something that I have seen from my own perspective, and I have seen from assisting other individuals that has been seeking for my help as a life coach. And let me tell you the negative impact that these four, social media, television, Hollywood movies, and music, have had on most of these people. And you can probably relate to them as well. They induce discomfort. I have been talking in some of my articles, I have been referring to the induced discomfort, which is that we don't want to be who we are. We don't want to accept our life. We don't want to accept who we really are. And we're always constantly comparing others to others. We're always dissatisfied with the way things are. The distortion in our minds is evident in the way that we talk, the way that we think. We're thinking that we're better off if we get to have more money, or maybe if we become famous, or we're always chasing this big fantasy that something's gonna happen in the outside that is gonna make me feel better in the inside. We become indifferent and very insensitive to different situations and things in life. Sometimes we find ourselves thinking, oh, that was too bad, but then I'm glad it didn't happen to me, and that's it. So we have this attitude that since it's not happening to me, it doesn't really matter. We disconnect from ourselves, we disconnect from others, and we disconnect from spirituality. And we start doubting our values. We start second guessing everything. We start wondering if it's really worthy to be honest, to be responsible, to have respect. And you know, why we have to continuously do it. We go even thinking that some people have done bad things, you know, and they get away with it. So why should I even bother? So these are the kind of negative impact that we're getting because of the influence that the social media, the television, the Hollywood movies with all the distortion of reality they present, and even the music with the kind of language and the kind of things that promotes. Again, these things, they're not bad, but it's just the way that we let them affect us. It's just the way that they negatively have an impact on us. That's where the danger is. And for that, we are responsible. Now, I always bring a question for you to think about. And this is my question for you. What are the values ruling your life? Because let me tell you this. It is extremely important to know what your values are, because that's how you're going to figure out the kind of life you want to live. Now, I have some recommendations for you to maintain your values and to keep them with everything that is happening nowadays. How can you maintain your values? Well, you can make a list of what you consider important. Let's say that maybe you don't know what your values are. You can make a list in order to define your values. What's truly important, what really matters to you. Let's assume that maybe you don't even know, you don't know where to start from. Start making a list of those things that you wouldn't do regardless. Some things that you wouldn't do no matter what, because that's going to give you an idea. The opposite to that is pretty much your values. That's pretty much what you stand for. So write a list of the things that are important to you. And again, if you don't know what's really important to you, you can still make a list of those things that you wouldn't dare to do ever. So that will give you an idea. You can also identify those people, especially friends, that more or less share the same values than you. And keep some distance from those people that don't. And the reason why I recommend this is because imagine that you're trying to be positive about life and you have someone next to you always whining and complaining about life and being negative about life. Even if you don't want it to affect you, it is going to affect you. So you really need to keep some distance in order to protect yourself and keep your values healthy. And also find ways to nurture your values. You can do this by reading things that nurture you, inspire you, watch what you're watching on TV, the kind of movies that you see, share with people that can really connect with what you're saying in regards to the kind of life that you want to live, and continue trying to be better. I can tell you that once you define what's really important for you, you are not the result of an accident. You're no longer someone else's, the product of someone else's choices. You become yourself, and you become being stronger and better because you define what you really want and what's really important in your life. Finally, I want to remind you that no one else is going to do it for you. The emotional growth path you've taken and I've taken, it's something that we are responsible to keep and preserve and prevent us from continuing the chaos and the drama. We've always talked about this in Emotional Cafe. You can have the life you want. You can have the life you think you deserve, but you need to be able to take some of these recommendations and put it into actions in order to see results. So you are responsible to define your personal values. I cannot tell you what your personal values should be, but I can tell you that once you define what's really important for you, it's going to be way easier to align your actions and your thoughts and everything that you want to do according to your personal values. Also, you are responsible to nurture and protect those values, because again, we have so much different messages, mixed messages coming from everywhere that sometimes affect us negatively without even realizing how bad they're affecting us. So take all this into consideration, and don't forget that next week we will continue with another topic based on values. And again, today was personal values. Next week we will start with family values, and I hope to see you every week. Please invite your friends, invite your family, and remember that Emotional Cafe, it's totally free and it's for you. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Xiomara Mayo Ingram, and I'll see you next week.